kids these days seem to be fascinated with the flippables and the foldables, and those, I guess, have somewhat nostalgic value as well, because the Motorola Razr, the original one, it was a flip phone that people used. I never did. I never had one, and now I'm lucky enough to have. You did? You had one?
I had the original Razr. Yep.
I know it was a thing, but I just didn't like the interface. I was more of a Nokia guy. But I recently had a chance to play with the Razr Plus, and it's good. I gotta admit, like, I'm not necessarily the target market for a flippable or a foldable phone, but it impressed me, like, more than I thought it would, for all the reasons that it has been, I guess, promoted. Like, for content creators, for people who take a lot of video, a lot of selfies, it's actually viable. Like, for that type of usability, for that type of use case, a device like this can work very well. I just like the sound too. I like how it goes clap, flap.
It's like a Nintendo SP. Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, and I've got one right there, here too, right right there.
Yeah.
See it? Yeah. GBA SP right there.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's go ahead. Toxic.
I was gonna say, if we just start calling stuff out, do you just have it at the ready?
I guess I do, yeah. And
where did that come?
I'm comparing the closing here. So this one's a little more muted. The Nintendo SP is a bit more muted versus I guess a harsher slap. And I'm not even putting that much pressure on it. Well, if I just do it lightly.
Yeah, that really slaps.
Not to steal
kids.
Not to steal Will's thunder, but here's the sound of the flip.
Okay, so this is the direction we're going. This is the long-winded introduction. Will wanted to detail his top 10 for this week, breaking down the reasons that 10 reasons you might want to get. These are flips, right?
Yeah, there's a phone commercial right there.
Well, that would be a flip.
Ironic. This is a flip, but not a fold.
Yep.
Okay, so the 10 reasons I have to ask. Because this folds theoretically. I'm not wrong, but this is a foldable phone, flippable phone.
The form factor is the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Will thought it'd be. So, go ahead, Will. Break it down. I won't interrupt you further.
Oh no, not a problem.
I will, certainly.
I've been test driving the. Let's see if I can get it here. The Galaxy Fold, the Z Fold 4 for probably, actually I'm not looking at it, a little longer than a year. And it's, your basic, go this direction instead of, what Chris was showing. But it was a weird phone, and I looked at it, and I thought when I bought it, I thought within 30 days I was going to be returning it. And I didn't think I was going to use it. And the biggest thing I've been finding, obviously the size, right? You go to a 7.6 inch linear screen with 120 hertz refresh rate, and you got a 6.2 on the front side with same thing, 120 hertz refresh. And it's actually the biggest, the 7.6, the inner screen is the biggest flagship phone screen currently that you can really get. And it's not really was a size necessarily that attracted to me, but the Open UI, which was one of the big things. And the Open UI, or
One UI? Are you talking
UI.
Samsung's One?
Yes, I'm sorry.
One UI?
UI. Yep.
Yeah.
So the One UI, you get, for example, I don't know if I can show it here. See, you bring up an internet browser, and you got your taskbar immediately down here, and you can actually do, it's a little hard to do on screen, but you can do side by side. One of the advertisements they show, which I in fact used, was having a spreadsheet side by side, Word document and a spreadsheet side by side. And I started playing with peripherals on it. I put a keyboard and a mouse. And my biggest thing, I was just shocked that when I put a Bluetooth mouse with it, I actually had a mouse cursor. And I was able to put the screen on a mount, and they make cases. I mean, the accessories, that'll be something else too, but I was able to use it essentially like a laptop, for your basic stuff. I've done video conferencing with it, like lots of things like that. And then they've brought back the S Pen. Obviously, this came in the pre-order, but you can buy. It's a little girthier, bigger than what you would get in your Samsung Galaxy, and it doesn't just pop right in. It's a case integration type deal. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this actually goes in the back of the case, and that changes out. This is Samsung's case. Is one of Samsung's first cases they really got going, but you can put a kickstand in the back of here, so you can essentially set it up and watch videos or whatever you want to do. But the performance was the big thing. With the bigger screen, you wonder, what kind of performance am I getting? Laggy, whatever. It's using that Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor with 12 gig of RAM, which, looking at a phone with that capacity, that was impressive. There's a lot of normal size phones. I guess I'll call it normal, but regular size phones that pack the same thing. But, I think about it as a tablet when I use it, right? And performance for tablets have not always been the best compared to phones. And this is kind of meeting the runner-up for me. So I was impressed. And it also came with the 1 terabyte storage, which was one of the first options I had when I bought a phone, to get a terabyte storage. And this was a generation old already. So a lot of things have changed with them. But that brings me to another thing, is the continuous improvements they've made. Samsung has been listening to a lot of the community that drives these daily, what they want, what they see. And what has really driven was when people first got these, they were so fragile, they were going to break. They're just these ticking time bombs. And durability, I have to say, has improved big time. And I mean, I've stepped on these things, I've dropped them, everything short of driving over it, basically. And I have had no problems. I have had any type of distortion in the fold or the crease. And that was one of the other things they changed, is the crease has actually become less noticeable. Before you could really see, but now you get such a streamline, and the webcam doesn't do it justice, but I mean, you get such a streamlined picture. It's essentially like a tablet, and the only reason you can tell is because your bezel becomes 2 parts. That's the only way I can really differentiate between 2 screens. But and they're lighter. I mean, they keep getting lighter. The Fold 3, the Z Fold 3 was 271 grams. This one comes in at about 254 grams, so they keep getting smaller. Or lighter, I should say.
Sorry.
The Z Fold 4.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm doing a lot of comparisons with the 3 on this one, just because, a lot of times phones come out and you wonder how much has really changed. And there was a noticeable, for me, change in a lot of things. The bezel got smaller as well, which improved your aspect ratio. Hinges are better, and that was one of the big, that goes back to durability. That was one of the things that a lot of people had feared, the life of the hinges. And the hinge design is I don't even know how it works. It's pretty incredible watching how they've done it. It's a tens of multiple interchanging pieces. It's not just like a door hinge where it's one solid piece. There's many pieces working in there that make it do everything, which makes it, really kind of makes you wonder, is it going to last? But I mean, after a year, I've seen no downfall on it, and that's opening it and closing it, daily, how many times, you know. But
that's one thing that I was always worried about was, and you touched on both of them. One was the crease, and if it was going to be off-putting whenever you try to view or intake any of your content, or could you feel it on the screen whenever you're touching it, and the hinge, because it just seems like it could be a massive point of failure. But if you've used that for over a year now, and you've not had any issues, that's a pretty good testament to the product. Right.
And the funny thing is people were worried about, sand being, you get this small little micro spot where things can squeeze into, and my day job, I'm a landscaper. I filled this thing full of sand and dirt and everything, and I've yet to see the hinges don't even seem to. I've got a little bit in there where I've cleaned it with like a index card or something and got some gunk out of there, but I have not actually had any problems with that picking it up. Being that it's magnetized and it's picking up, all sorts of stuff, I'm really impressed with the durability, big time. And the way I looked at it, not initially at first, I'm finding now, but they're more expensive. They keep coming down, but it was more of a pay more now and save later. I found it to replace my e-readers, my tablet, my laptop in some situations. And now where I'm leaving the house, I'm taking just this. I'm not taking a laptop bag with a tablet, laptop. I'm taking just the phone. And the nice thing is I can do everything I've been using on these past devices, but instead of having a laptop and the tablet with a data package or subscription so you can get internet everywhere, I'm paying for one and I can do it all, which has been great. It makes me happy. And I'm pretty simple that way. You know, I like tech, but in my daily life, less is better. I hate having to pull up multiple devices. Just that's something I've personally never been into, but and then the gaming experience was another one that I initially kind of thought would be fun, and I wasn't expecting a huge improvement. But playing on that 7.6 inch with 120 hertz refresh, pairing it with there's a lot of them you can get, but one in particular is the GameSir X2, which is essentially gives you open your phone and you set it in a docking station, and you have like Joy-Cons essentially on both sides. So you get like a portable, like a Switch or something type of interface for gaming. And the games you can play that are available to mobile and everything, I've had a ton of fun playing, and it works really well. And I would say anybody who does mobile gaming, you just can't beat the experience on a fold phone like you can, on a regular size phone. You just don't get the same experience. That the screen, that's something to say. The size does matter on that for sure. It just gives you more area. You can see things. You're not constantly struggle. A lot of that type of stuff. But the other one that was really big for me too as well, the camera wasn't the best, but I was comparing a lot of these specs to a tablet being such a bigger phone. It does have a 50 megapixel camera with a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto, but it's got the 30x zoom, which you can video at that zoom as well. So compared to some of the tablets I've ran in the past, I mean, this swipes it out of the water. Now, as far as a phone, your comparisons aren't going to be as good, but considering the size and everything you're carrying, I've been pretty impressed with it overall. But the fact that someone can essentially take this, you can buy a case with the little keyboard, it all folds up in one little package. You got the little keyboard, the mouse, everything, and take it with you, and you got a full desktop experience. Was a game changer. It was really what brought me into the fold phones, actually. Just making things simpler, more streamlined.
So you were brought into the fold. Sorry,
Yep.
did not mean it. That was my dad joke. I had to put it in there, Goat. I had to. Go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
I was trying to get it there before you could get it. I was trying to save everyone. No, for the folds, that's something that I've encouraged a couple of people to look into. The ones that they have a tablet, they don't do a whole lot with the tablet. They don't need a whole lot with it, but it's nice to have every once in a while for a handful of little things. And I think the fold is really kind of the great compromise between having a cell phone and a tablet, where you can it's compact enough, you can fold it up, put it in a bag or in your pocket if it's big enough, but you still have that larger screen that you can use to, whether it's you want to do gaming, whether you want to do business, whether you need to do a handful of things, you need that bigger screen for something. It's great for that, and I have encouraged a couple of people to look into it simply because of that, so that way they don't have to have multiple devices anymore.
Yep.
You don't mind how thick it is, the phone?
It was a little bit of a change at first. It's a little thicker, but not too much. But it's also your front panel screen is actually a little more narrower than your classic phone. Which kind of makes up for it. I feel like it fits my pocket okay, but it was a little bit of a learning curve at first, how thick it was. But once, just like anything else, I treated it like it was just a piece of glass in my pocket, then I got over it. And now, I mean, this thing is just a regular phone you use every day. But, I've got some of my, grandparents, some people like that I know they love tablets. That's their life. They've done everything on a tablet ever since they got off of using a home computer. And I've showed them this, and I said, instead of paying this for your tablets get outdated, get so slow. I said, just incorporate them to both. And I gave them this, and they are able, it's weird. When you give them the front screen, they're confused like it's their phone. The second I open it, they're navigating it like it's a tablet. So that was kind of interesting in my experience to see that. So
what do you use more in terms of modality? Do you use it when it's folded, flat, or do you use it more within the wider experience, the larger screen experience?
Big depending on what I'm doing. I watch a lot of content on my phone, so I have it fully open when I'm watching content. If I'm just making a phone call or a text, I'll just keep it on that on the main screen, which that was another thing I love the both of is, you know, you can just have, I guess, you know, business in the front and your party in the back when you open it.
It's the mullet of phones, everybody.
Right.
The flippable, foldable revolution is the mullet of smartphones. I think you heard it here. I don't. Maybe
You nailed
first,
it.
maybe second. I don't
Coined
know.
that.
It's the mullet. I'm serious. It's the mullet. Yeah.
It is. But yeah, so I mean, this really depends. Reading stuff, I'll open it. But yeah, a lot of the times it's use it the main size, but I fold the thing so many times. At first I didn't want to. I felt like I was gonna break it. But now I just don't even think twice about it. You know, after a year I feel like I would have experienced something if I was having problems.